Electricity prices keep going up, especially here in Jamaica. But what if I told you my solar system costs far less than most people think? In this video, I'll show you my complete setup and why I have no regrets. The entire system costs around 630,000 Jamaican dollars, or about 4,000 US dollars. Welcome to Off-Grid Solar DIY. I'm coming to you from Montego Bay, Jamaica. This channel is all about real-world solar. No sponsorship, no free equipment. Everything you're about to see was purchased with my own money. Over the years, I've learned a lot about solar, batteries, charge controllers, inverters, wiring, and system design. And on this channel, I'll be sharing both my successes and my mistakes so you can learn from them. When I first got interested in solar, almost 15 years ago, things were very different. Solar panels were more expensive. Lithium batteries weren't common. Most people are still using lead-acid batteries. Back then, going solar was like luxury. In fact, I believe that it has become a necessity, especially since the price of electricity has been increasing drastically from year to year. So let's start with the heart of my system. This is my Chin's 48-volt hybrid inverter. Believe it or not, I bought this inverter used on eBay for around $250, shortly before Hurricane Melissa. When it arrived, I honestly couldn't tell it was secondhand. It looked almost brand new. And it has been performing very well ever since. Now what I want to explain is that this is a single-phase inverter. That means it provides 120 volts or 110, between 110 and 120 volts AC with one hot wire and one neutral. And honestly, this is enough to run most of the appliances in my home, like my refrigerator, my television sets, my fans, my lights, computer, microwave, and so forth. Now some people will choose a split phase inverter instead of this single phase inverter, and I do recommend this step instead. A split phase system provides two hot legs and one neutral. That allows you to get approximately between 220 to 240 volts AC between the two hot legs. Because my inverter was limited to a single phase versus a split phase, I had to get a 12,000 BTU Windy, that's a brand, Windy inverter AC that uses 120 volts versus 240 volts. And it's been working flawlessly. Now what this inverter actually is, it is called Chin's inverter, but it's actually a rebranded SRNE inverter. You can get it on Amazon right now for I think about $420 brand new. If you want to purchase this exact inverter, the model number on it is H as in hotel, F as in foxtrot, 4850, U as in umbrella, 80-H as in hotel. Now if you're living in a hurricane-prone area like myself here in Jamaica, or an area that is subjected to frequent power cuts, I would not recommend a grid tie system, but I would recommend a hybrid system that comes with a battery, so you can save the excess power coming from the PV array in the daytime. Now with a grid tie system, in case the power goes down, you'll be left stranded because you'll have no power because the grid is down. So I definitely recommend having batteries to supplement your system, so whenever there is no power from the solar array, like on a very cloudy day or at night, you will have an alternate source of power until the PV array has sufficient power to take the lead again. Back in the days, you usually had to have several 6-volt golf cart batteries to make a good battery bank, and space would always be an issue. Ever so often you'd have to be topping up these batteries with distilled water, and in case you forgot, it could potentially damage the battery. Also, going below 50% of state of discharge would have contributed to destroying over time these lead acid batteries. Now, the battery that I chose for my system is the 10 kilowatt hour SRNE lithium battery. I purchased this battery locally here in Jamaica for approximately 350,000 Jamaican dollars from Enersave Energy Solutions. There's a branch at Bogue Industrial Estate in Montego Bay, and there's another branch in Kingston, which is the equivalent of about $2,243 US. And honestly, this battery changed everything. Compared to lead acid batteries, lithium batteries charge faster, requires almost no maintenance, and gives you much more usable energy. This is probably one of the best investments I've made in my solar journey so far. If you've ever owned lead acid batteries, you know the struggles. Checking water levels, cleaning terminals, trying not to discharge them too deeply, replacing them every few years, like between 1 to 3 years and maybe 5 years if you treated them properly. Lithium changed the game. Today, lithium batteries are lasting longer, performing better, and becoming more affordable. This SRNE battery that I have here is rated for 6,000 cycles. In simple terms, this means that the battery can be charged and discharged more than 6,000 times. If you cycle the battery once every day, there are 365 days in a year. So when you divide 6,000 by 365, you get approximately 16.4 years of use. In my case, however, the battery is typically cycled once every 2 days. Based on that usage pattern, the battery could potentially last around 32.9 years before reaching its rated cycle life. Even after reaching its 6,000 cycle rating, the battery doesn't suddenly stop working. It will continue to provide power, although its capacity will gradually decrease over time. This battery also comes with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connectivity. That means even when you're away from home, you can monitor your system remotely. You can check the battery's state of charge, see how much power your solar array is producing, and monitor how much electricity your household appliances are consuming. When you're at home, the battery features a large touchscreen display that provides important system information at a glance. Using the touchscreen, you can view the battery's state of charge, battery voltage, operating temperature, and other useful system data. Depending on the load connected to the battery, the display can also estimate how many hours of runtime remains before the battery needs to be recharged. Another useful feature is the built-in temperature monitoring, which allows you to see the battery's operating temperature in real time. If you decide to expand your energy storage in the future, your battery bank, this battery supports parallel operation, allowing multiple batteries to be connected together to increase total storage capacity. This particular battery is rated at 10.24 kilowatt hours of energy storage, has a capability of 200 amp hours, and operates at a nominal voltage of 51.2 volts. The battery is also rated IP65, which means it is fully protected against dust ingress and is resistant to water jets from any direction. This level of protection makes it well suited for demanding environments where dust and moisture may be present. Overall, this battery combines long cycle life, smart monitoring features, expandable capacity, and robust environmental protection, making it an excellent choice for a modern solar power system. Now let's move on to my solar panels. In total, I have 8 newer monocrystalline solar panels and 6 older polycrystalline solar panels. I've had the polycrystalline panels for almost 15 years. The array consists of 2 210 watt panels, 2 250 watt panels, and 2 280 watt panels. Even after all these years, they continue to produce power reliably, and on a good sunny day I can typically get about between, let's say, 800 to 1000 watts from these older panels. To maximize efficiency, I keep the older polycrystalline panels on a separate MPPT charge controller from the newer monocrystalline panels. This allows each array to operate at its own optimum voltage and power point. Now let's talk about the newer monocrystalline panels. My newer array consists of a combination of 585, 595, and 615 watt bifacial panels. Together, these 8 panels provide a combined rated output of approximately 4.75 kilowatts. The panels are wired in a series parallel configuration. In simple terms, every 2 panels are connected together in series, meaning the negative lead of one panel is connected to the positive lead of the next panel. This increases the voltage while keeping the current at the same level. I then have 4 of these series strings connected together in parallel through a combiner box. Each string enters the combiner box through its own protected input, where the power from all 4 strings is safely combined before being sent to the charge controller. At the output of the combiner box, the array produces roughly 90 volts and just over 50 amps under ideal conditions. This gives me nearly 4.8 kilowatts of solar generating capacity available to charge my battery bank and power my home. One of the advantages of using a series parallel configuration is that it keeps the voltage high and the current relatively low. This reduces power loss in the cables and allows the charge controller to operate more efficiently. The combiner box also provides additional protection for the system. Each string is individually protected before the power is combined and sent to the charge controller, making the entire solar array safer and easier to maintain. Between the older polycrystalline panels and the newer monocrystalline panels, my solar system has grown significantly over the years. What started as a small solar setup has expanded into a system capable of producing several kilowatts of power every day, allowing me to be totally independent of the grid. Now let's talk about the safety aspect of this complete solar system. This CNC enclosure contains protection for my solar arrays and my AC main. Good wiring and proper protection are just as important as generating power. One thing you'll learn on this channel is that safety should never be an afterthought. The first breaker at the top is a 125 amp DC breaker. I mainly use this as an isolation switch. Whenever I need to perform maintenance on the system, I can simply switch it off to disconnect the solar array that feeds my OutBack FlexMax charge controller. We'll talk about the FlexMax in just a moment. Although this breaker is rated at 125 amps, it's not the primary protection for the array. The actual protection is provided by a 100 amp DC breaker located inside my combiner box outside. Since the breaker is closer to the solar panels, it provides the primary overcurrent protection, while the 125 amp breaker mainly serves as a convenient disconnect. The second breaker is a 20 amp DC breaker that controls the older solar panel array feeding my Chins inverter. Finally, the 63 amp AC breaker isolates the AC output from the Chins inverter before it goes to my automatic transfer switch. This allows me to safely disconnect the inverter from the rest of the house whenever it's necessary. Having dedicated breakers like these makes the system much safer, easier to maintain, and gives me the ability to isolate different parts of the system whenever I need to. Now this is my automatic transfer switch. I purchased it on Amazon for about $35 US. I installed it inside a HT 12-way enclosure that I paid about $20 US for, or in Jamaican you say about 3,000 Jamaican dollars. It's a simple addition, but it makes the system much more convenient. Even though the Chin's inverter has a automatic transfer switch built in, I opted to go this route so I can manually change over from the grid or the solar array if I wanted to. Or in case the grid goes down, this automatic switch would automatically switch over from solar to the grid. Now you may think this is my entire system, but there's actually another piece of equipment that's been with me for almost 15 years. This is my OutBack FlexMax charge controller. This charge controller may be old, but in my opinion, it's still one of the best MPPT charge controllers available. I've owned it almost 15 years and it's reliable, it's efficient, and it just keeps working. One reason I kept it was because I wanted to expand. The Chin's inverter is excellent, but it has its limits with how many solar panels you can connect to it. Rather than replacing a perfectly good equipment, I decided to add the FlexMax and continue growing the system. Today, my newer, larger panels feed the FlexMax, while the older panels feed the Chin's inverter, and together they work beautifully. If I compare today's solar prices to what I saw 15 years ago, it's incredible. Solar panels are way cheaper now. I remember the first panel I bought was a 210 watt polycrystalline panel. I paid almost $30,000 for it. Today, I got most of my panels at Save Energy Solutions for $16,000. Lithium batteries are cheaper, inverters are cheaper, and the technology is way better. I honestly believe that for many households, the cost of not having solar is becoming more expensive than the cost of getting solar. If you're thinking about going solar, my advice is simple. Don't wait for the perfect system. Start with what you can afford, learn as you go, and upgrade over time, because that's basically what I did. If you enjoy real-world solar systems, battery reviews, system upgrades, troubleshooting, and practical DIY advice, consider subscribing. This is just the beginning. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.